Hi guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how I make my little Chibi felt character pins. So this is just going to be for like a plain kind of felt pin like this, kind of, and then on the back I just have the pin back and a little, oh, it's not on this one, but, and then I usually put this little made with love charm, so, and then, you know, you can add stuff like this. Pepsi Man has a real chain for his necklace. You just sew it on. Same for like Jotaro. He has the chain, again, just glued and sewn on because this is a little heavier. So I use some super glue to reinforce it. But anyway, this is how I make them. So I just drew a little template, and I used cardstock so that I can trace around it a lot easier than like flimsy printer paper. But this is my little base that I made. And then to get ideas out, I have my little idea notebook. The 2-page. So you can see here, this is like where I just put any ideas for my felt stuff. So this is what Jackson, my OC, kind of looked like before I turned him into a pin. And then this was Jotaro's idea. And like they will change. You know, this is just to get like an idea. Today we're going to be making Kakyoin from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to go with Jotaro for my friend. And I figure I'm going to be making a lot of these pins, so I might as well make a video. I don't know, a video tutorial, because why not? Okay, so after I make the base, I just draw it on. Let me see here. This will be good. So I'm just going to trace it onto another piece of cardstock. I kind of fucked up the legs a little bit, so I kind of just edit them. As I go. Okay. So now that we have the base, we can draw our character on top of it. So I'm just going to get my notebook out. Oop. If it'll stay up. Or not. There we go. So, where the hell is my phone? Okay. I'm also going to get a picture of the character on my phone just so I have a reference. And this is just going to be regular Kakyoin. I'm not going to give him his sunglasses or his little like shawl. So, yeah. Now that I think about it, I'm wondering if I should give him his eye scars, but I don't think I will. Just because I'm lazy. And I don't know how well it would look. What color are his eyes? Does he have gray eyes? Anyway. Something to figure out before And even if though you draw this, like, it can always change. You know, like the way you cut things, you know, might not be exact. So I'll show you in a second about that. And for his earrings, I'm going to use real beads. So I'll show you some of that. I'm not very good at explaining. I'm a little awkward. So I'm not used to being on camera. I really wanted to make more YouTube videos, but just time. And I hate editing. Like, I really don't like editing shit. Not my favorite, so. This pretty much is coming out how my original, like, sketch did, but that's okay. I always do the original sketch just so I get an idea. Okay, that looks pretty good. Erase some bits so I don't get confused. Damn it, that's what I wanted. I wanted to pick up more felt at the craft store. I totally forgot. That's okay, we'll work with what we got. So this is what I have. It's very simple, like a simple chibi, and now I'm going to cut him out. Yes, I'm going to cut him out. And what's hard for me is that, like, it's hard for me to do shit, like, in the camera. Because I hold stuff up to myself very closely. So it's going to be difficult. Now I am going to cut off his earring. No, I'm not. I lied. Keep those in for now. But they will be leaving eventually. Okay. Cutting him out is pretty essential because we're going to use him as like a template. And the only template I really keep, honestly, is the doll base. Everything else you cut into pieces and then just throw away. But that's because I don't make duplicates. Everything I make is one of a kind, I guess, because I don't make duplicates unless it's very simple. So, okay. Next, what you want is a stiff felt. The felt at craft stores like Michael's, I find, is too thin and floppy. You want a nice stiff felt, and I've gotten mine off Amazon, but I know Etsy is a really good place to get it. You just might have to pay a little more, but you know, you pay for the quality. So like, for example, this felt is pretty stiff. It's not like extremely stiff. It still wobbles a little bit, but with my skin tone color felts, they're a lot more floppy, and you can kind of see through them. You can't really on camera, but like, do you see how floppy that is compared to before? So, you know, I made that mistake when I bought off Amazon because I couldn't see and feel the felt. Oh Lord, phone's going off, sorry. I bought it through Amazon. It said it was stiff, but it really isn't. So, I mean, you can still work with it. It just isn't going to be as easy, I guess. It's a lot easier if you have a stiff felt. So now we're going to pick out our colors. And I need my phone back so I know what colors to do for Caculin. So we got his skin tone, and then I think his eyes are gray in the anime. Yeah. So I don't really have a light gray. I only have a dark. No, I'm thinking of thread. Never mind. Okay. So I have a shit ton of felt, my pile of felt. So we're mainly going to need, this dark red would be good for his hair. Hold on. This is a good color, I think, for his hair. And then for his eyes, we use this color. I like to get all my felt out just so it's like ready. You don't have to do that. I'm just weird, I guess. I don't know. Yellow for the buttons on his uniform. And then his uniform is like, ooh. Like a dark green, so I think that's a good green for him. And then I talked to my friend, because these are being made for my friend, and he said a light green would be good for the background. So maybe this. I don't really have like a pastel green, which is what I wanted to get at the craft store, but I totally forgot. Wait, let me see. This might be a good green. It's a little bit more subtle. No, it's not. I don't know. Well, yeah. They're the same, aren't they? Okay. Forget that. I think that's all the colors I'm going to need. Because when I do it, I usually don't do like pants and shoes separate. That'll make sense when you see it. Or you can see on Jotaro, like, his pants and shoes are like the same blob. So, okay. So got all that. And then what I usually do first is I cut out the skin of the doll. Okay, that sounds so weird. I cut the base first. So we're gonna move our little doodle of Caculin, maybe. And then make sure you have fabric scissors on hand. And the reason why you want separate scissors, I use these scissors for cutting paper, and then these two, shit, I'm dropping stuff. These two for fabric, because you want them to stay sharp. And they won't stay as sharp if you use them for everything. So, get our felt. And get our doll base. And then, you know, this is what it's going to look like. So, I draw the other side of it. I draw it face down, because then you're going to trace around the pattern. And when you cut it out, you'll flip it over so that you don't see the color pencil anymore. And I'm just using a Prismacolor dark purple color pencil. You can also get these, I got these off Amazon years ago. They're water soluble pencils by Clover, which is a really good brand for sewing and sewing notions and all that. But I find they aren't very dark. I mean, the white works great on dark felt, but the blue is kind of like hit or miss. I don't know. Another thing is, it's a little harder to trace, I find, on this kind of felt, whatever felt I got off Amazon. So I would not recommend it. But it's usable. It just isn't pleasant. You know? But what can you do, right? Know for next time. Sometimes things are just trial and error. Like, you won't know unless you try it out. And felt pins isn't like a huge thing. So it's not like there's a lot of tutorials and stuff out there. But, you know. And then note, when you do this, you are going to get that color pencil on your fingers. I had pink fingers for like a couple days. Not like I was making things every day and I would get pink fingers and I didn't know what it was from. Turns out it's just the color pencil rubbing off onto your fingers. So that's probably why a water soluble color pencil is the best. But I just use Prismacolor because it gets on there, you know. And you work with what you got. You don't have to buy, you know, like expensive things like you know what I mean? Like, you work with what you got. So even if it's not the best quality or whatever, you can still make something. Like, I don't want to waste all that felt that I have just because I happen to not like it. Oh, and I totally forgot. Okay, I'll use. I don't want to say I have like a system for things, but anyway, let's just cut this shit out. Sorry if I'm breathing a little heavily. I'm a little congested. Or I don't fucking know. That's not even in camera, okay. Like I said, I hold this shit so close to me when I'm doing it. When I'm cutting things out, when I'm sewing, when I'm drawing, like, I don't know. Legs are kind of bothering me. One is definitely skinnier than the other. Let's try to fix that. Let's see if we can't fix that. Okay, that's good. Not that we'll even keep these legs, which you will see in a second. See, you turn them over and then you don't have the pencil marks. So, right side out or whatever. I don't fucking know. It's like, whatever. So, this is something that I started to do recently. Is I will, because for all of my pins, they have like a background you can see. Because I just find that that's easy to do. So even though things can change because you're not going to like cut out the exact perfect shape. So as you can see, like around Jotaro's hat, it's kind of like close. But so what we're going to do is we're going to take the background, fold it in half. Because you're going to need 2 pieces of the background. And then I also find, oh, I put them away, but I have these, like, I think they're called like quilter clips or something. A lot better than using, I prefer them to using pins. So just clip on like that. I find them very useful, actually. I will get more into that as we go along. But now we're just going to place little kakyoin on there. And I don't mind, like, I guess you could technically do it like this too. I'm just going to do it like this because I don't know. Let's try the water soluble and then you can kind of see how well it shows up. So this is a blue one. I think I also have a red one, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look for it. So what we're doing is we're making the background for him. So I don't really make this very precise. It's kind of blob-like, you'll see. So just go around your character. Okay. And then I don't even know if that picks up on camera at all. You can kind of see it. And then we're just going to cut that out. Yeah, get yourself a good pair of fabric scissors, so it just makes things easier. Okay. Kind of hold it to make sure that they're aligned. I'm always a little messy with my cutting too. You can always go back and refine it, but okay. So now we have the background, and for all my scrap fabric, I'm just putting this little bin, and then I put it in a big gallon Ziploc. And don't ask me what I'm doing with my scraps, because even I don't know. So I usually separate them just so I have one to kind of lay the pieces on. So next, next, you know what? Okay, let's cut out his uniform. So, oh, I almost took my cut around the hair. Boop. Sorry, Cactuine, I'm decapitating you, but it's for art. Cut off his arms. Or hands, whatever you want to call them. And I just throw them away. Because if I kept all the scraps, like, I don't know, I kind of do everything in like a system, and I feel like I wouldn't be able to replicate it if I didn't have the drawn thing. So we're gonna, yeah, we're just gonna cut this out. Hold on. I'm gonna cut his legs off too. Alright. So now we're gonna get the color for his uniform. And again, when I do any of the pieces that are going on the body, I do them backwards or whatever, however you want to call it. And you don't need a sharp point on this. Like, the point on this is pretty dull. So it works, you know. Just going to trace it. Okay. Ooh. Then I'm thinking for the jacket line, I'm going to embroider that with a darker thread. So if I have I don't think I have a dark green. I might have to use like dark brown or black, but that is fine, I think. Okay, so cut this out. I think for my scraps, if I ever get back into amigurumi, which is crocheting stuffed animals, I might use it as like stuffing because it doesn't lose its shape that bad like stuffing does. So maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, so we have this little school jacket, and let's try it on him. See how it is. Ooh, that's not good at all. Wait a minute. Okay, so this is one of the times where it doesn't work out. But you know what? It's okay. This is what we're going to do. We're going to kind of freehand it. So this is going to be a little more difficult because this felt is so floppy. We're just going to hold him down. And yes, it's a waste of felt that I just did, but whatever. Yell at me all you want. Okay. Okay. Let's try take two. Let's try this again. Sometimes, you know, you're just gonna make mistakes. That's life, you know. It's okay. Just try again. And the pencil's gonna show because I didn't turn him backwards, but you know what? That's okay. It's handmade. It's not gonna be perfect. As much as you want it to be. You know? So don't even worry about it. At least that's what I tell myself. So. Okay. I'm going to keep this little scrap for his pants because they are going to be two separate things so that they layer correctly. Well, you know what? Let me turn this around and see if it works. No. Okay. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. There we go. And then for his legs, we're going to cut them off. Let's see. I think here will be good. I want some overlap so that it can tuck behind the shirt. Let's get rid of this old shirt that doesn't fit. And yeah, we're gonna cut his legs and use them as a template. And you're probably thinking, okay, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that a waste of felt? Yes, it is. But I don't know a better way to do this. So if you have a better idea, let me know. Just, you know, because I don't, this is just what works for me. If you're using the real expensive good felt, maybe you want to figure out a better idea. But if you're using the cheapo stuff, you know, save it and make stuffed animals. Do I have tutorials on how to make stuffed animals? No, I do not. Because I only know how to do amigurumi, and I'm burnt out on that. And I just use patterns, so I'm not even like making my own patterns. Anyway, this is a tangent. I don't really know what to talk about when I'm on camera because I'm not on camera often, so. Anyway, we're going to cut out his little legs. You can't even see what I'm doing. Okay. Again, I hold it close to me, so. Okay. So we have his legs, and if they don't match up all the way, that's fine because they're going to be covered. So let's get the felt. We're just going to like lay him on there just so we get an idea of everything. See, I laid him on there and I need to lift him up a little. So we're going to lift him a little. There we go. Want to keep in mind, want to remember his earrings too. So that's why it's good if you have the first sketch like I did in my notebook. You can refer to that and like look back on it for anything you might forget. Okay. Looking pretty good. Let's see what's next. How about, sorry, I'm thinking. Let's cut out his hair. No, we're gonna cut out his eyes and his cheeks. I forgot the felt for his cheeks. It's okay, it's right here. Anyway, pink for his cheeks. So I just eyeball it. Cut out, take cheeks. I cut out a rectangle, cut that in half, and then I cut them into circles. These might be too small, too oval. Yeah. Again, trial and error. You're going to waste a little bit of felt. It's okay. Repurpose it. And if you don't know how, see if you have a creative reuse center and donate it there. See if they'll take it. Because I'm sure someone will find a use for it. Anyway. So, there's one cheek. Oh. Maybe I should have picked a darker pink for him, but it's fine. It's fine. If it really bothers me, I'll change it. There. Second cheek. Okay. Eyes, same thing. For Jotaro, since he has like the D-shaped eyes, I don't know what to call them, like the half-lidded eyes, I made one big circle and then cut that circle in half and then trimmed them to size so that they would match. But for Kakyoin, he's going to just have circle eyes, so that's what we'll do. Pretty much the same system as making the eyes. Oh my god. Same system as making the cheeks. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I can't multitask. Like, at all. Sorry, I know you can hear me cutting, but you can't see me cutting this. There. Again, we're just gonna cut 2 equal squares and then trim them down, and if you make a mistake, just try again. Oh, shit. Kind of messed up. Okay, that's kind of okay. The hell did the... Oh. Next eye. You want to just... And, of course, unless you're going for, like, a style, you want them to look the same. This one looks a little bigger. Let's trim this one down a little bit. Best we can. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be. Then let's trim this a little more. I'll be here forever. Okay, let's just put them on him and see how it looks. And we're going to embroider the mouth and eyebrows. Okay. There we go. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Gotta be careful because sometimes your finger skin will pick up the felt and it's very annoying. So, the last thing we have to cut out is the hair. And his hair is going to be a little difficult because it's going to be in a lot of pieces. So, we have this big piece. Oh shit, you can't see me. We have this big piece, these two little pieces, and then this big piece. You want to kind of divide it into chunks. And whatever you're layering on the bottom, give it some extra felt so that you can layer things on top, if that makes sense. I don't know. So let's cut the hair out. Either too far up or not far enough down. Okay, cutting off your ear now, cackling. I'm sorry. You basically are just taking apart your drawing and making templates. And the more difficult or the more intricate the hair or part or whatever, the harder it's going to be to cut out. So it's pretty easy, like, to cut big soft shapes, I guess. That's why I have these, if I can pick them up, that's why I have these like detail scissors, fabric scissors, so I can get small details cut. And we have this space down here for his earrings, which for some reason I always thought were cherries, but they're not. They're just two little red balls. I don't know. Now I'm trying to think. I don't know if I want these three pieces to be one piece and then this one piece or not. Well, no, we'll just do 4 pieces. I don't care if it's harder or whatever. Small pieces are a little difficult, but you can do it. I believe in you. Just put them, I'm just gonna put them to the side so that they don't get picked up by the felt. Oh, you can't see me. Sorry. This video is gonna be so difficult because I'm so used to holding it so close. So now we're just gonna cut out the hair. Let me get the felt. Okay. Since this is a dark color, we're gonna use the white clover pencil to trace. So we're just gonna trace his hair. Again, these pencils do not have to be sharp. If anything, they probably work best a little dull. And the smaller they are, the harder it'll be to trace. So just keep that in mind. You can freehand it too if you want. Honestly, sometimes that might be the best course of action, is to freehand it. And we're going to cut these out. And you know what? I'm probably going to have to focus to cut these out, so I will be back after I cut these. Okay, got the pieces cut out. Let's see how they mesh. I kind of feel like I might have messed up the hair, but why is it popping up like that. That's pissing me off. Okay. It's pretty good, I think. So it's looking pretty good so far. Once we sew things, we can get the small pieces like the buttons. So what I'm going to do, for Jotaro, what I did was I glued things first, and then I sewed around them. So like, I only sewed the ear and the arm for like the skin pieces, and then I sewed like on top of it, you know, whatever. For Kakyoin, he doesn't have as many pieces, or as many intricate pieces, except for like the hair. So what we're gonna do, what should we do? So you can go about this a few different ways. I used to use super glue, but super glue gets really hard. It's hard to stab your needle through and sew. So I got this Aleene's premium quality felt and foam tacky glue, and it does take a long time to dry. However, like if you don't mess with it, it'll stick. Hold on. So I would just use like a dab of this in one area, and then it's still hard to stab through, but not as hard as super glue. And it's like, it stays flexible, I assume. So I think for this, we're going to sew everything one by one, because I feel like that'll just be easier. So take everything off. Try to keep it in place. This is where the clips come in handy, because you just clip them in place. It is gonna flop, whatever. Just, you know, I'd rather it flop than use pins, because I feel like pins distort. They distort. What else am I gonna say? Anyway. Now is also a good time to get out all the colors of thread that you're going to need. So yellow for the buttons, pink for the cheeks, gray for the eyes. Oh, you know what? Yeah. I don't have a light gray. Oh, wait. I do have a light gray thread. I didn't think I did. Alright. Skin tone. Green. I'm gonna need like a light green for the background, which I don't think I have. This is a better green. I also got this thread. I almost said yarn. I got a lot of these threads off Amazon, so they're not like high. I don't want to say they're not high quality. They're not like premium quality, you know. You know what? I'm going to need a little brown for the X marks in his ear and the eyebrows and the mouth. But we'll use black for the mouth and then brown for the eyebrows. Or maybe I don't know. I'll have to look at the reference photo. And let's see. I think that'll be it. You know what? I'm thinking this yellow is closer to the green than any greens I have, so we're going to use that for the background. It's just nice to have all your materials out that you know you're going to use, so that you don't have to go looking for them later. I'm also going to use black for the earrings. Oh, you know what? I'm going to need red. Red, because I have beads for the earring parts. I'm just putting my thread up where I can get it easily. Move Chikawa. Okay. I have a Chikawa figure up on my desk, so yeah, we're just gonna sew. And I'm probably just gonna cut so I can save storage. You don't need to see me sew. I'll show you a few times how I stitch. What you call it? So I cut usually about an arm's length of thread. Get my favorite needle. Gotta do this here. Get it through the eye. And this is how I was taught to make a knot in home ec in middle school. So I'll show this a few times when I sew with different colors. I hope I can explain this. Take your 2 threads together, put the needle on top, right? Switch fingers, wrap around like 5 times, 4 or 5 times. Oh, I got caught. Okay. Gather that with your fingers while you're pinching it, you know, and then you're going to pull that wrapping all the way down. Oop. And it should give you a knot. It's kind of hard to see. Where's the knot? Ah, right there. It should give you a knot. Let me show you again with another needle. This has a bigger eye. I don't have the same size needle, do I? No. Okay. So let's see, what color am I gonna need? What color am I gonna need next is probably the green. So, I'll just take a random, shorter length. Because I'm not going to actually use this. Okay. Where the fuck did I put my needle? Where the fuck did my needle go? Right here. Okay. I'm stupid. Okay. Get the thread through the eye. If you have a bigger eye, it's easier. Gather your 2. Put the needle on top. And then switch fingers. Wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gather it. I just hold on to it basically. And then pull the needle through. The bigger the eye, it might be a little harder. Pull the needle through. And then you have a little knot. And you can trim. You can like trim this if you want. The closer you are to the edge, you know, where you want to keep like the loose ends short. If that makes sense. Anyway. So, it doesn't really matter where you start. You just find a point. Let's see, I'll start at the bottom here. And you go through the back, pull up. And then the stitch I do is I just go down, like, pull up here, down to the bottom, pull, and you just get like a little stitch there. So again, pull up. I'm going to do this all the way around. I can show you on Jotaro. See, I did it all the way, everywhere it's poking through. For Kakuna, I'm going to stitch all the way around. Okay, so he's all sewn on there now. The back of the project. The front of the project. And we're going to add his legs. So yeah, again, same thing. You place the part, you clip it, then you sew. And the way that I do it is like as I'm going, I'll remove them or just move them to a different spot as I sew so that they're out of my way. And I'll show you how I make a knot once more because I know it can be a little confusing if you're not used to doing it. So again, cutting an arm's length of yarn. And I also like cutting out all my pieces and then sewing instead of cutting and then sewing because you can map them all out and it just, I find it easier. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in your ear. So we're going to put the thread through the eye, gather the ends. And if this is too complicated or you're just not getting it, just look up how to make a knot, how to thread a needle, and I'm sure you'll find an easier way, one that works for you. Just totally fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull all that, pull it tight. Then you have a knot. So now I'm just going to sew the pants on. And if you know that some stitches are going to be covered up by more felt, you don't have to worry about making them perfect. Okay, while I was at it, I sewed his school jacket too. So, oh, that's what I said about felt sticking to itself. So now, now I'm going to sew his eyes and cheeks, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have the eyes and cheeks, and since the hair is going to go over the eye and cheek and everything, I'm going to sew the mouth and the eyebrows and the ear details. So if you want, you can go in with, you know, your pencil and draw the eyebrows and the mouth. And you know what? I think I might do that. You might not even see the eyebrows when I put the hair on. So, well, let's, yeah. Okay, so, for the ears, this is what I do. I just make an X. So, show you. Boop. And boop. There. That's what I do for the ear. And then I will come back and show you how I do the mouth and the eyebrows. Okay, so for the details, like the eyebrows and the mouth and the jacket line, I do a back stitch. So what we do is we come up, come up, do a little bit, do that, and then you want to kind of come up forward a little bit and go back. So it's kind of hard to explain it. It's kind of easier if you just watch. So try to my best to keep it in frame. It's a little hard for me to do so far away, but go. I mean, these might end up being covered. I didn't check, but, you know. There. Oh, he's got some brows, and let's give him a mouth. It's going to be the same way. There. All right. So now I'm just going to tie it off. This is how I tie everything off. I probably should have shown this earlier, but I forgot. So I slip it through one of the pieces in the back, wrap this around, and then pull. And then it makes a knot. And then you can just cut. And there you go. So the next thing I'm going to do is make his earrings and the line on his jacket. I'm going to do that with some black thread. Okay, now I have, look at the beads. Just have these little seed beads for his earrings. And I took a thread that is the same color as the bead. And I'm going to show you how I sew it on. So I kind of just go near where I want it. So I want it like right here. And we're going to slide the bead on. Oh shit, don't drop it like me. Because I only have 2 of these. I don't want to have to go back in the family room and get more. Because that's where all my beads are. Okay, slide it on. Pull your thread. And then put it like right here. Just next to where you made the first stitch. And get your scissors off the thread. And then there you go. You got a little earring out. And I go through it a few times. So I'll come up. Hold on. Come up. Go through the bead hole. Ow. Try not to fucking poke yourself. That hurts. Go through the bead hole and then go back down. I do this about 3 times. Just make it secure. So I'm going to do that for both earrings. Okay, now that we have that, we can tackle the hair. So let's see now. It's going to totally cover his eyebrows. Okay. That's about right. So his eyebrows are going to be totally covered. That sucks, but you know, it is what it is. So we're just going to take it piece by piece, clip it in place, and I will sew all the hair on, and I'll be back to meet with you later. Okay, now we're going to cut out the little circles for his uniform, and if you have a hole punch in stiff felt, you can sometimes get a good circle. This might ruin your hole punch though, so do it with caution. Where the hell did the hole go? Where did this circle go? What the fuck? Okay, well, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Okay. Oh, it's still attached to the felt. See, but like mine, it comes out like not a full circle. So let's see if this one's a little bit better. Let's cut this out. There we go. So we have 1. I'm just going to do 3, I think. 2. No, they just keep getting messed up. So you can use a hole punch if your hole punch works. I think I broke mine doing this, so use caution. Okay, so now I'm just going to sew on his little buttons. Okay, now that he's all finished, I'm going to get out a pin back. So I have these kinds, but I also have a different kind of pin back, but I'm going to be using these ones because I think that's what I use for Jotaro. Yeah. So we're just going to sew one of these puppies on the back. Yeah, well, the second piece. I'll show you. So Kakyoin's all finished. And this is the other side of the felt. We're going to sew these together. But before we do that, we're going to flip this over, sew this on, and also sew one of my little Made with Love charms on there too. So we're just going to sew these on. It's pretty much, you know, just sew up through the holes. I usually do that about 3 times on each side. So yeah, I will be back. Okay, now that we have everything sewn on the back, like so, we're going to sew these 2 pieces together. So just line them up as best you can. And then clip him in place. And then we're going to do a blanket stitch. So I'll show you how I do the blanket stitch. It's pretty much how everyone does it, I guess, but you know. So we're going to come up through here, pull, tuck in the tails, pull up in that exact same spot, and then stop. Don't pull it all the way through. Put your needle through here, through the loop, and pull. So we're going to do that again. It's easier if you have a nice thick border. So pull. I usually put my fingers in to stop the hole from closing all the way. And then we're going to go into that. And then we're going to pull. And you can see it makes like a line there. You can kind of see on Jotaro. See the lines? That's what we're doing. So I'll show you one more time. Go in. Up. Pull. Go through the loop. And then pull. So I'm just going to do that all around and then we will be finished. I'm also going to show you how I end, my stitches. So we're going to make the last stitch here. Oop, If you pull it too tight, just slip it under. Should be good. And then to end it, I'm just going to do like 2 blanket stitches in the same spot to kind of make a knot. Pull it tight. Then we're going to slide it under the layers, pull it up through the back. And then we're just going to cut it. And then you are done and you have your little chibi felt guy. So that's how I make these. They're holding hands. Okay, but anyway, that's how I make my little felt chibi characters. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I can make some more videos in 2026. So yeah, I'll see you. Bye.